historical day is just getting started in Miami. The best triathletes in the world are all here. These athletes are pushing their bodies to the limit. Let's do it all again in Miami.
In Miami in March, no better place to be. And once again, the best triathletes in the world populate a NASCAR mainstay. Today, it's Homestead Miami Speedway, a perfect venue, all-inclusive for the three disciplines of the triathlon. And when I mentioned the best in the world, I was referring to #1 ranked Jan Frodeno of Germany, who has been absent from competition for over a year. But his top challengers still have the utmost respect for him, and that includes the Canadian Lionel Sanders, as well as American Ben Hoffman. On the women's side, #2 in the world, Lucy Charles Barclay of Great Britain will be working to stay in front of the Aussie Sarah Crowley and USA's own Sky Munch. But it's Canada's Paula Findlay who's riding the wave of confidence after her win at Challenge Daytona just 3 months ago. Hello and welcome to Challenge Miami. It's the kickoff to the 2021 season from Homestead Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida, alongside 15-time long course champion Belinda Granger. I'm Rick Allen. Belinda, we just saw some of the greatest athletes in the world, and we'll point in two of the greatest as far as Jan Frodeno and Lucy Charles Barclay, both in the field, but both have not competed for over a year. How will that affect the competition?
Look, Rick, I really think it's going to be a key factor today. We just don't know what sort of race shape these two are in.
Yeah, one of her biggest competitors in breaking news, Annie Haug, was supposed to compete in this event. She tested negative for COVID before she came to the United States, but the protocol that Challenge North America has in place is they were testing every day since people were here. Annie tested positive yesterday. She was then immediately put in quarantine. She will not be able to compete, and that's a big hit for this competition. Here at Homestead Miami Speedway, a little bit more unique from Daytona, the road course is going to be used for the bike portion, and then they'll use the oval for the run.
Yeah, it really is a unique course and completely different to Challenge Daytona, to be honest. I came here thinking it was going to be very similar, and once I saw that the road course and how technical it is, it's an extremely technical course in comparison to Daytona. 4 very, very sharp hairpin turns. And you've got to think they're doing 17 laps. That's a lot of turns, and that's a lot of acceleration out of each turn.
Women will be first in the water at 1 o'clock. The men will start their event at 3:15. You see the air temperature 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. Water temperature 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. We have two of the best triathletes on the ground for us, in Alicia Kay and Greg Bennett. Let's start with Greg.
Hey, thanks, Rick. I'm down here on the course, and as you can see, it's very, very windy. We have such a great field of men today. I, as a triathlete myself, am so excited to finally see Jan Frodeno back racing against Lionel Sanders and a plethora of others, including Ben Canute, Timothy O'Donnell, Ben Hoffman. It's just such an incredible field. This course is not like Daytona at all. It is incredibly technical. We have 17 laps with 4 technical corners every single lap. You can see behind me here is one of the corners, and I'll point you down to where transition 1 is. They're going to get out of the swim and go straight into the headwind right away. Alicia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Greg. I'm here out at the swim start. The women are in the water warming up, and as you can see by the trees moving behind me, we have very windy conditions here today. In combination with a very technical bike course, I think that these conditions, in combination with the course, is really going to favor our athletes who have short course racing experience. And most of our field in the women's side is coming from a long course background. So my two athletes that I think are going to really make a move today are Jody Simpson as well as Paula Findlay, who have recent short course racing experience. Overall, I think it's going to be a fantastic day, and I think the conditions are really going to challenge them. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, Lisa, you're exactly right with the Paula Findlay mentioned there, because she's really got momentum behind her. It was 2019 when Paula Findlay came in as, you would call her, an underdog, not expected to go out and win that event. And she did just that. Had a very strong bike, was able to catch up to Lucy Charles Barclay at the end and run past to get the 2019 win. And then the 2020 PTO Championships Challenge Daytona just 3 months ago. She comes back and defends her title, wins again, one of the largest purses in triathlon history, and she went out and grabbed it. She was able to enjoy those final strides as she came across the line, but she definitely has momentum on her side as she comes now to challenge Miami. Take a look at the top 10. You're going to see Annie Haug in there. Obviously just announced yesterday that she was going to be out, but a great field here.
Yeah, look, a really great field. Obviously, Lucy Charles Barclay right at the top of the list, but Sarah Crowley coming into this race in much, much better form than what we saw in 2020 at the PTO Champs in Daytona. Of course, Kari Lester, Paula Finlay, Skye Monch, Heather Jackson, Jackie Herring, of course, Meredith Kessler, our crowd favourite. Everyone loves Meredith Kessler. And rounding out that top 10, Leslie Smith.
The event just getting underway. Lucy Charles Barclay introduced to the crowd here. Chaos at the beginning, and the two athletes that we were expecting to be strong swimmers here in Lucy Charles Barclay and Sarah Perez both jump out to a pretty quick lead, but then the field has strung out. Groups of 3, single file, taking on this choppy water here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
And now to Alicia as the women are headed towards transition 1.
Perez just looks so smooth. Gosh, talk about a beautiful and efficient stroke. They're going to have to adjust here now from being horizontal to standing up and not getting too dizzy. I used to struggle with that as an athlete. So we have these two ladies up and out of the water looking fabulous and ready to go. And we're going to see a fast transition out of Sarah Perez here because she doesn't have a swim skin on. So excited to see how far back these next girls are. We're already at 35 seconds, so the gap is significant.
And look at this. She'll get to the bike, she'll put the helmet on and strap in. Greg?
Yeah, Lucy Charles Barclay is right here with us. This is her game plan now. She's opened the gap in the swim. Now she wants to extend it on the bike. She's clipping on her helmet and away she goes. It's a long run out of transition. But if you look down transition, you'll already see that Sarah Perez is already out in front and will mount the bike in front of Lucy Charles Barclay. But it is a long run into the headwind all the way down. So even before they get to bike, they're having to work incredibly hard. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and the shoes are already clipped onto the pedals. So now, right there, Sarah Perez got past the line. She can then get on the bike. And we'll see Lucy do the same thing. Get the shoes, put feet in the shoes.
But you can see then the difference between a short course athlete and a long course athlete. Short course athletes are renowned for their very, very quick transitions.
And while these two are already on the bike, we go back to Alicia. The swimmers just coming out of the water again.
Yeah, I have Paula Finlay, Jody Stimson, together in, I believe that's Fenella Langridge as well, at number 11. All together about 140 back, so a significant gap there. And that's what we expected, but they're going to have some damage control to do on the bike here and hopefully close those gaps to those lead 2 women as soon as possible.
First Challenge Daytona winner, Paula Finlay, going to her bike. The difference between Sarah Perez and Lucy Charles Barclay when they exited T1 was 10 seconds. So Perez with a 10-second lead over Barclay.
And it was interesting to see Perez, as they said, not wearing one of the speed suits, just wearing a normal swimsuit, which gave her the advantage. Gave her the advantage getting out of the water and getting onto her bike and out of T1 quickly.
The long run before you can get on the bike.
As the women get underway, it's Sarah Perez and Lucy Charles Barclay leading the way. We'll be right back to Challenge Miami from Homestead Miami Speedway. Welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's catch up on what's happened with the women's bike.
Coming out of the water, as expected, it was Lucy Charles Barclay. We knew she was going to be strong. We weren't sure that Sarah Perez was going to be as strong as she showed, and she ran right by Lucy and took over the top spot out of T1. Out of transition, you see Sarah with the lead, Lucy close behind. Those were the first two out and on the bike. They switched back and forth as far as who was up front. You see on lap 5, Lucy Charles Barclay goes by Sarah Perez. Looks as though she's going to once again dictate the pace of the race. Paula Finley makes the pass and moves up into the top 3, looking for a podium finish. But the biggest news was when Lucy Charles Barclay gets penalized, and I had mentioned earlier that it was passing of Sarah Perez. It was actually passing the lady in the black helmet. So she passed her on the inside or the left, and that is why the penalty was given to Lucy Charles Barclay. She will have to serve 2 minutes at the end of the bike ride. And you see Sarah Perez taking the lead back again. Now it is 10 seconds that separate the top two. Sarah Perez in front of Lucy Charles Barclay. How do you prepare as you get ready to get into T2?
You actually leave the shoes on the bike. What they'll do is they've got
Right
you'll,
there?
You'll see Lucy doing it now. Unstrap, foot on top of the shoe. We'll do the same with the other. So shoes stay clipped into the pedals. Feet come out.
Socks, when do you put your socks on?
Socks go on. Well, some of these women will actually run without socks. Some will choose to put them on. Socks go on T2.
You hear the fans here cheering for Lucy as she's coming up on T2, and Sarah right behind her.
So it will be interesting to see what
and Lucy goes down.
Oh.
She was braking hard. Lucy goes down just at the entrance to T2.
Gave a little wave to the crowd.
Alicia.
Yeah, I just saw Lucy go down. It just looked like she just wasn't ready for the momentum to stop. Perez just flew right by her, not stopping to see how Lucy was doing at all. Lucy's grabbed her thing. She's interestingly running to the penalty tent. So Lucy absolutely knows she's got a penalty. She is running with all of her running gear, hat, sunglasses, socks, everything. And she will get to that penalty tent as quickly as possible. Perez has chosen to put socks on. She's got her shoes on, and she is off and running. I will be curious to see if Perez has any idea that Lucy's got a penalty. So she may be finding herself leading the race in just a second. Oh, and Perez just dropped some gear, so she's stopped to pick that up. So as you can see, these athletes are tired. They make mistakes. It is really hard to transition smoothly when you're this fatigued.
Alicia, remind me, I don't believe she can put her shoes on in the penalty box. I believe she has to be.
Yeah, they're telling her right now.
She has to put everything on before she enters the penalty box, and the clock doesn't start until she gets into the penalty box.
Correct, and I didn't want to misspeak. I saw that strategy that she was doing, and I was 99% sure that wasn't going to work, but you are correct, Rick. You're quickly becoming an expert in triathlon because she is stepping into the tent right now. So Lucy will now be serving her 2-minute penalty. And I'm just heading that way now. She doesn't look too shaken by it. What are you guys seeing? I'm still a little ways away.
Well, it's her first competition in 15 months.
2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
So the big question will be, now Paula Finley, when she gets into T2, where will Lucy be? Sarah Perez already out on the course running. That second group is in now. There's Paula Finlay.
Into T2 with Jody Stimpson.
Alicia.
Watching Paula Finlay run by right now. She's taking a look at the bikes, who's in the transition. She may or may not be where Lucy is about serving a penalty. Jody's right with her. I cannot wait to see what these girls do on this run course. These are two fabulous, fabulous runners. Jody is running backwards.
Yeah, she just dropped. It looks like a monitor potentially.
A gel. Super, super important that she have enough calories to get through this run.
Lucy Charles Barkley serves her penalty as Sarah Perez leads the way here in Miami. Up next, we get the men's event started. You're watching Challenge Miami on NBCSN.
So another beautiful day here, very similar, reminiscent to what we saw 3 months ago at Challenge Daytona. Let's look back on the men's event. A unique event here at Daytona.
It feels like a world championship.
The best in the world are right here. Now it's time for the men to take over that stage. The cannon goes off.
I love the start of a triathlon race.
This is so exciting because there's just so much maneuvering and so much fighting.
Someone like Henry Schumann, everyone knows that he's the fastest swimmer in the field.
These guys coming out of the water now, getting ready for the transition.
We got a bunch of Olympians showing their stuff at the front of the swim.
Our lead male, Alistair Brownlee, with Vincent Louis close behind.
Just watched him go by the entire field. I'm stunned to see someone riding like this.
And he's not going to slow down now. He's out front. He wants to put as much distance between himself and the pack as he can.
As we see that penalty box, we can see 57 and 58. Vincent Louis and also Jonathan Brownlee. Young Sam Appleton now doing exactly what his coach told him to do. Keep controlling what he can control and to get to the front.
Going to the transition 2 area where they'll drop their bikes, take the helmets off, put on the bib. Rudy Von Berg up front right now.
The young man who came 3rd last year at the 70.3 World.
We're going to have a great race on our hand because it's going to come down to the line.
Alistair looks as though he's ready to take over this race.
And as you can see, he's already starting to hit his stride. Alistair
Yeah, he was on the wall. He was stretching right there. That's why he's fallen back so far. Alistair Brownlee right now stretching.
Running along right now with a pulled calf muscle. We're going to have a brand new leader. Gustav Eden has run his way right through these guys.
Youngest ever half-distance world champion.
This is for second.
This is insane. He's making the pass.
Look at that run. Hansen.
This is
what
incredible.
a kick here. This is beautiful. Challenge Daytona, the 2020 championship. With PTO, Gustav Eden with a smile on his face, able to walk across the finish line.
What an incredible race from young Gustav Eden.
That was 3 months ago. Let's take a look now at the top 10 in today's field for Challenge Miami. Number 1 in the world, Jan Frodeno at the top of the list.
And of course, everyone on that list would love the opportunity to beat Jan Frodeno. He is the GOAT of our sport right now. Practically unbeatable. But Lionel Sanders, Ben Hoffman, Rudy Von Berg, an up-and-coming athlete who I know is going to give it everything today. Of course, Matt Hansen after his incredible run at the PTO Champs in Daytona. Tim O'Donnell, Tyler Butterfield, such an incredible athlete, so incredibly gifted. Chris Lieferman, Andreas Dreitz, and of course Pablo Tapina, who had that incredible race back in 2019 where he ran head-to-head with Lionel Sanders. I still put that down as one of the greatest races I've ever seen.
And now let's take a look at how the men's event got started.
Ranked number 1 in the world, that's Jan Frodeno in the gold cap, and the men are underway here at the lake at Homestead Miami Speedway. It was Ben Canute who decided to take the lead early, and a pack of 3 have separated themselves. Jan Frodeno in that pack.
As Ben Canute and the men begin to exit the water, let's head down to Greg.
Ben Canute first out of the water. It's Nick Castellan, Jan Frodeno's training partner. That's who's out of the water. Tio in 4th. What a great swim after Ben Canute really attacked the top marker and opened up a gap. But Tio showed tremendous grit to keep up with that 4, and so that was Jan Frodeno's training partner that entire time, guys. Nick Castellin, who is absolutely a phenomenal swimmer. I don't know how. Forgive me, all Australians and everybody, for missing that one.
Well, I'm
We
gonna
missed
say
it
something
too.
yeah.
We missed it too. Don't worry.
We've got an Aussie up here next to me that didn't recognize that.
I went out for
John's
dinner.
struggling to get the.
I went out for dinner the other night with Nick, and he told me he was swimming well. Shame on me.
Here comes the second group, guys. They're only about 15 seconds behind, including Rudy Von Berg. There's a massive group there. There's probably 7 guys that are all running there. Eric Lagerstrom, one of our underdogs, is also in that group.
Jan getting out now.
Whoops.
Oh, and over the cone and struggling. There goes the water bottle.
Oops. Was that Ben Canute?
It looks like Ben's struggling
Yep.
to put the water bottle back in.
But these little things happen because, you know, normally these men have been racing week in, week out, but they have had so little opportunity to race that these little errors that normally wouldn't happen, they're just out of practice.
There's the struggle he has.
Didn't get the leg over.
Oh, he hit the water bottle
Nope, hit the cone. Whoops.
and then the cone.
Nope.
And then the water bottle comes out after he goes over the cone. Just those little struggles. You don't think it means a lot, but at the same time, that means maybe a position, maybe 2, maybe 3 positions
Yep.
that he lost right there.
And it also rattles you. It also rattles you mentally.
T1 times. 50 seconds.
All right, so that is a nice lead group. And of course, Nick Castellin has been training partner of Jan Frodeno for quite a few years now. They both live in Girona, Spain. Nick, of course, originally from Australia, still calls Australia home. Spends a lot of time in Noosa, where Jan Frodeno also owns a home. Under normal circumstances, Jan would be in Australia right now.
With the men continuing through transition 1, let's check in with the women's run.
Coming into T2 for the women, and Lucy Charles Barclay, the front brake a little bit too much there, goes over the handlebars, then had to go to the penalty box. Before she got into the penalty box, had to put on the socks and shoes. 2 minutes in there, and she was released. She was able to try to catch up to, at the time, Jody Stimpson, but then Jody pulled away and actually went by Sarah Perez for the lead, and Jody Stimpson hasn't looked back. She has been dominant. Lucy has fallen back to second. She's about a minute behind race leader Jody Stimpson. Stimpson going through what we will call turns 1 and 2 here at Homestead Miami Speedway for the final time. She's on the last lap. You see the clock up there. They have been putting every ounce of effort into this event for 2 hours and 54 minutes already and counting. And this is her final lap that she is putting down. There's Lucy Charles Barclay, currently second, a minute 13 back.
And hats off to Lucy Charles Barclay for keeping her cool, keeping it under control. We have to remember she hasn't raced for a full 15 months, so this is not a bad start to 2021.
Yeah, the 2-minute penalty definitely hurt Lucy Charles Barclay. When you do the math, obviously she's still up front if she doesn't have that penalty, but she did serve it, and now a minute 13 back. Again, we'll remind you, the athletes were told you have to pass to the right. It doesn't matter who the athlete is, you have to pass to the right. Lucy Charles Barclay actually passed the woman with the black helmet to the left. They posted it, and then she had to serve that penalty. 2 minutes. And coming into the transition 2 over the handlebars, that was Sarah Perez going by. After the penalty was served, she was back out on track and now running in that second spot.
Running nice and smoothly again. I'm just glad that that limp didn't stay.
Well, and you have to remind everyone, we just saw Lucy Charles Barkley there running a 6:07 pace. We know that Jody Stimpson's running under 6-minute mile pace. That's under 6-minute mile pace for 10.5 miles that they're keeping this pace up. And that's after swimming a mile and biking or cycling for 39 miles. And this is what we're seeing out of Jody Stimpson. What a performance. Really, it's been 5 years since we've seen Jody Stimpson really shine and be on the top of a podium. It was Abu Dhabi back in 2016.
Exactly. Yep.
Jody Stimpson leads in the closing stages of our women's event. We will see if she can bring it home when we return to Homestead Miami Speedway. Welcome back to Challenge Miami at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Finishing up 50.5 miles of competition. Smattering of claps, you're starting to hear them. The bikes on the inside going by. But now Jody Stimpson on the front stretch for the final time. She moves over and heads down the tunnel. The red carpet will be in front of her.
Look at that composure still, though. She's just, I don't think she's willing to accept that she has won this race, to relax and to take it all in until it's actually done. Staying focused right until the end, till she hits that red carpet. Then I think she knows she can relax and enjoy the finish.
Making Great Britain proud. The final strides for Jody Stimpson. Probably trying to hold back the emotions. Her father not able to be with her here, but looking down and proud of his daughter. Jody Stimpson wins Challenge Miami.
What an incredible race from Jody. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, you see the emotion.
Jody, phenomenal job. A gutsy race out there on the run, taking advantage of what she had to. And then
now sobbing. She knows what she's just accomplished.
Crown you champion of the
See you,
inaugural
Bill
Challenge
Christie.
Miami.
Thank you.
Congratulations, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you, congratulations.
I love how Lucy kept her composure all day long, even when things were going wrong. True professional. Fantastic comeback race for Lucy. This is a huge turnaround here today in Miami. Well done, Jackie.
Let's go down to Alicia with our winner.
All right, we are live with Jody Stimpson, our inaugural Challenge Miami champion. You just look so darn good today, Jody. I remember how Daytona was. How is this different than Daytona?
I think Daytona was obviously a massive shock, but I was going in it prepared for it to be a shock. I mean, it's an honour to start with these girls. Like, I know these girls are just powerhouses on the bike, and yeah, I can hold good watts on a road bike and like it, but it's a totally different ball game when you're trying to hold these watts in an aero position. And I think, you know, it was obviously a big benefit to me having that technical section, because I could just tell I was carrying an awful lot more speed through it. I mean, it's pure just practice, isn't it, that I'm used to, but tell you what, the girls are making me hang on going into that headwind. They definitely made me work for it today.
Take a look at the top 10 today here at Challenge Miami. Jody Stimpson, Lucy Charles Barkley, Jackie Herring will make up the podium. Great performance by Sarah Perez. Alyssa Dela, another one of the underdogs called out early on, finishes 6th. Challenge Daytona winner Paula Finlay finishes in 7th. Heather Jackson, Meredith Kessler rounding out the top 10. Heather Jackson coming home in 9th.
Now back to Alicia with Lucy Charles Barkley.
So tell us about the penalty. Do you know how you incurred it? I'm not entirely sure. It was for an incorrect pass, I think. So there was 2 points where that may have happened. I think if it was on the technical point, it might have been where I was catching one of the back markers and I overtook on the inside. So I was just trying to get around as quickly as I could. So whatever it was, it's just one of those things. So can only learn from it.
Jody Stimson gets the win here at Challenge Miami for the women. When we come back, we transition back to the men. Welcome back to Challenge Miami. As we get towards the end of the event, let's take a look at the highlights of the men's bike.
Out of the water, we saw Ben Canute lead 4 athletes. Ben Canute struggled getting on the bike, getting over a cone, dropped the water bottle. So that stopped him from being out front. Jan Frodeno made his presence known as he was able to surge to the front. But then it was Andrew Starkowitz. Starkey took the top spot away from Frodeno, and now it is Starkey up front. And the young Magnus Ditlev has moved up to second as he was able to pass Jan Frodeno. So Andrew Starkowitz first off of the bike and into T2. Greg, you're right there.
He looks like Andrew Starkowitz. I'm not going to say he looks fantastic. He always looks like he runs with a bit stiff, but this is how he runs and he gets it done. He often starts this way with a good lead. He's clean. Ditlev has just got off the bike as well, so they're very, very close together, in fact. And here is Jan Frodeno. Jan's had an incredible last lap, actually. He's right on the back of Ditlev, so the three of them are going to be very, very close, running out of transition together. Andrew Starkowitz has put on some socks and shoes. And here comes Jan Frodeno and Magnus Ditlev both racking their bikes.
Wow.
They're a little bit stiff, I'm not going to lie. I think this bike might have actually taken a little bit out of them, probably more than they might have even expected themselves. None of them have had to sit down. They're all standing, so there's no serious cramping going on. But first out, away goes Andrew Starkowitz. He's on his way. Jan Frodeno, he's just unclipped his helmet. He's just trying to stretch his legs a little bit, and off he goes, and there's a big cheer from the crowd here. He's in second, he's overtaken Ditlev. He's just struggling to get his shoes on at the moment, but away he goes as well. So the top three, off they go. They're all separated by about 50 meters between each of them. But just looking at Jan Frodeno run out now, he's already sort of found his stride, and it's only going to be a matter of time before he moves into the lead.
So much more efficient, Jan Frodeno, right there. We watched him make up probably 10-15 seconds just in the transition on especially Ditlev for sure, but almost up to Starkey, who, by the way, Starkey I would compare to almost a linebacker. I mean, that guy looks like he'd be ready to tackle a running back if he was coming at you.
But don't you love just how cool, calm and collected Jan Frodeno was? There was no urgency about it. He just did exactly what he needed to do. He even stopped right before he was about to leave. He stopped just to make sure everything had it. And here we go. I thought it was going to be a kilometre, but what was that, a couple of 100 metres?
Yeah, I was going to say, that was maybe 200 metres.
Oy, 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 yeah.
And Jan Frodeno out in front at Challenge Miami.
We will be back to see the finish of the men's event from Homestead Miami Speedway. Welcome back to Challenge Miami. Jan Frodeno leads the way in the closing stages. Let's take a look back at the start of the men's run.
And T2, Jan Frodeno, a very efficient transition from the bike to running. He came out second. It didn't take long, though, to get by Andrew Starkowitz. Starkey falls back to second. But really, the gutty performance of the day that we have seen has been Lionel Sanders. And this is him going by Ditlev for second. He has fought through what looks like incredible pain to be able to move up into the second spot. Chris Lieferman makes the pass on Ditlev. and he moves up to third. The podium looks like it's going to be Jan, and then Jan drops a little bit of nutrition, has to go back for it, grabs it, and keeps on going, and actually looks stronger after he did that. Has a pretty comfortable lead, 2.5 minutes ahead, and now on his final lap, as we see Lieferman there.
The biggest move I can see is, like you just said, Lieferman there on screen, but look who is right behind him. Oh my gosh, Ben Canute is flying.
Can he catch him?
And it looks like Ben Canute is absolutely going for it. This is going to come, if it came down to a sprint finish, I know who I'd be choosing. Ben Canute is a short course athlete. He knows how to sprint, but this is phenomenal from Ben Canute. I thought he was, not that I thought he was done, but I thought for sure that was how it was going to remain. But to see him come back at Lieferman like this, wow.
Well, Greg called it earlier. He thought Ben Canute was going to be a guy that could be the underdog of this one, and now he's fighting for that top 3 spot, Greg.
Well, look at that, huh, guys? That has made my day.
Oh, here we go again.
No, I think that, what is that prize for? What was the prize? What did we say?
It was dinner. Damn.
Well, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Lieferman and Ben, this is going to be a really exciting podium.
And he's trying to pass Lieferman now. We'll see if Lieferman has anything left in the tank.
Wow, this is good racing. This is what we want to see.
Lisa's right there with him.
Yeah, we just got here in the nick of time to see Ben Canute surging away from Lieferman. And interestingly, we have the interesting wrinkle of Robbie Deckard, who's a lap down, but very much, pushing the pace with these guys. So that is part of the racing of when you have a multi-lapped course like this. But this is a decisive move now. Ben Canute has pulled away from Lieferman, and we'll see if he can really grow that gap before we get back into that headwind stretch. But Robbie Deckard is also staying with Ben, so Ben is moving through the field really well here.
You see the sunset behind Jan Frodeno here as he is coming into the final turns at Miami Homestead Speedway. His final lap through turns 3 and 4 here of Miami Homestead. And we can't say enough about how impressive the performance from the very start. We saw a giddy, I would say, Jan Frodeno before the event began. He did a perfect swim in the sense that he let other athletes maybe lead to where he could draft, then got on the bike, went out there and showed what kind of an athlete he was on the bike, stayed up in the top position, top 2, transitioned to the run, and never looked back.
Never looked back. Never got himself into any trouble on the bike too, even when it started to get a little bit busy there. A good way through the bike ride, just kept his cool. Even when he dropped that gel, kept his cool. And you're right, the one thing I love, and you said it, he was giddy before the start, and I haven't seen that in Jan Frodeno for quite some time. Most of his races he goes in with a lot of pressure. He's often the number 1 going in. He's got a big target on his back, and so he's all business. And to see him just go back to doing what he loves and enjoying it, and that's what we've seen today. We've seen a Jan Frodeno loving what he does, and there is nothing better.
Well, he's showing us why he is and will be considered the greatest of all time, coming into a competition where his opposition was very strong. Lionel Sanders has been fighting him for years now. Lionel Sanders holding on to second, but 2.5 minutes back from Jan Frodeno. And a big smile on his face as he moves down into the tunnel. He'll come onto pit road here at Homestead Miami Speedway, hitting the red carpet and the flags. After 17 months of no competition, he's held on to his #1 ranking, and he comes in to challenge Miami, the overwhelming favorite, and never disappoints. Jan Frodeno, challenge Miami winner 2021.
And Rick, I think he's happy.
It is my honor to crown you Challenge Miami's champion.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
No,
thank you for...
Lionel Sanders, second. Challenge Miami. 32nd out of the swim, and he comes home second in the event. And look at that determination on his face.
It's amazing.
That's 10.5 miles.
Oh, look, and Chris Lieferman right on his heel. Right on his heels. Great racing from these two men.
Yep. Lieferman tried to keep that pace up. It's Ben Canute that will come home third.
Now to Greg with Jan Frodeno.
Well, here he is, the champion, mate. You never cease to amaze me. Today was just unbelievable. You told us you were nervous. There was this excitement. You haven't raced for 17 months. Was there an expectation from you that you'd deliver a performance like that?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, there's always an expectation, and you know me for long enough to know that I always expect the most. And you know, I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning because I'm just nervous. I'm a little kid, and then I come out and I got good legs, and I know it's just awesome to be able to push yourself, you know, and really go to that limit and look for it, and then keep the gas on.
Could have the race panned out any better for you? With Ben Canute leading the swim, you found, you know, the feet of your training partner, Nick Castellin. The three of you got away. Tio managed to get across. I don't know if you knew that, but then you led for the first half of the bike, and then you had Starkey and Ditlev come by and help that pace up. It was like the perfect scenario, was it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when Starkey came by, it was a blessing and a curse, you know, because he ended up splitting the group behind. And at the same time, I had my numbers to stick to, and the one thing I was nervous about was the bike. I just hadn't done the real work that I need, and I overcooked it there a little bit and started cramping up towards the end of the bike. I was like, oh, stick to your numbers. Starkey's going to come back. But hats off to those boys. They rode really, really well.
Jan Frodeno wins in his first event in 17 months here at Challenge Miami. When we come back, we'll talk to more competitors. Welcome back. Britain's Jody Stimpson was best in class, and Jan Frodeno did what he always does, win.
Good performance as we take a look at the men's overall standings, the top 10. Jan Frodeno does not disappoint. Lionel Sanders, the gutty performance of the day, coming from a ways back out of the water to second overall. Ben Canute, Lieferman, Rudy Von Berg, Ditlev, the young man, the exceptional cyclist, gets sixth today. Tyler Butterfield, a gutty performance from him as well.
Of course, we've got Nicholas Castellin, that's Jan Frodeno's training partner, home in 8th. Andrew Starkowitz in 9th. And of course, rounding out the top 10 is Andreas Dreitz from Germany.
Let's go back to Greg with Lionel Sanders and Ben Canute.
Lionel Sanders, mate, what a performance. I think everybody in this sport just loves to watch you operate. You came out of the water 32nd. I actually thought your swim was quite an improvement. You're in a good spot. What did you think?
One of my best swims I ever did. So I'm used to coming out in last place. So, I mean, the deficits are what I look at. And I know I was position-wise down quite a bit, but I mean, I probably swam to the best of my ability.
Were you getting splits? Did you understand what you were to the front?
Yeah, I knew that we had made like one lap. We made up like 3 seconds, and then we lost time every single other lap. So it's like my wife's giving me splits, and at some point it's like you wish you had a microphone and could say, stop giving me those splits. I don't want to know this anymore. I'm losing time right now.
Ben Canute, huge congrats, mate. Third across the line. Not only that, you've made me look absolutely phenomenal. You were my underdog pick. I even said, why are you calling this guy an underdog? This course is absolutely suited to him. Just tell me about your day. You led that entire swim, had a little hiccup coming out of transition. Did that concern you at all?
Oh man, that was such a rookie mistake. My water bottle's a little high and just my leg kind of nicked it, so I was just sort of mad at myself for making a silly mistake like that. But just, you know, the whole time I just tried to race my race. I put in a lot of good training and knew kind of where I needed to be, and some of those guys are just in great shape for early in the year, and I just wanted a good solid race because it's been, you know, about a year or so since I've had like a good solid effort the whole way, and I knew that I was in good run shape and just tried to set myself up for a great run.
Homestead Miami Speedway, normally a racetrack that we see cars running around at over 190 miles an hour. Today it was a perfect opportunity for triathletes from all around the world to come together and show just how tough they are. On the women's side, it was Jody Stimpson, an extremely emotional finish for her for losing her father a year ago. Coming home a winner here at Challenge Miami. And on the men's side, there was no question, really at any time, who the greatest triathlete in the world is. Jan Frodeno went out and dominated and showed exactly who the best in the world is. For Alicia Kay, Greg Bennett, Belinda Granger, Rick Alex saying thanks for joining us here for Challenge Miami 2021.